What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I am here to do 3 looks with the Melt Cosmetics Smoke Session palette. Now, this palette is not exactly new, but I missed the boat the first time they launched it. I was like kind of on the fence about getting it because I do have a history of hating green eyeshadows, but one thing that I've noticed is that ever since I started forcing myself to use green eyeshadows, I kind of love them now. If you told me a year ago that I was gonna love green eyeshadow, I would have told you to suck a fat dick, honestly, and I'm gonna have to bleep that so people don't get mad. But see, that literally would have been the words that came out of my mouth. But I, much like the plants on this palette, have grown. A while ago, I did one of those assume something about me things on Instagram stories, and I swear to God, the biggest assumption that you guys made was that I'm a big pothead, which is really hilarious because I get why, but also I'm really not. Like, I don't not smoke, but like I don't smoke a lot, like definitely not daily or anything like that. So they re-released this on 4/20 for obvious reasons, and I picked it up. I got it very quickly. I paid for regular shipping. They didn't have any other options, and it still came in like 2 days, so that was awesome. And I decided to do 3 looks with it. So that's what we're doing here today. I will timestamp each of the looks down below. I will also timestamp the end so that way you guys, if you want just to see the review, my little like first impression thoughts on it, you can jump to that and see that as well. We have a lot of looks to get through, so I'm not going to talk too much before we get into it, but I wanted to remind you, if you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe. You should just do it because, you know, I say this all the time. It's right there. And you're gonna forget later, and then you're gonna be sad, and then I'm gonna be sad, and everyone's gonna be sad. Why should we all be so sad? Just be happy and subscribe. Also, please don't forget to leave a like on this video if you don't mind taking a second to do it, because it helps me in a big fat way. It only takes you 1 second, and I would really appreciate it. Oh, and also I wanted to point out, this is how dedicated I am to making sure things are on theme here. I changed my manicure to these smoky ones from Static Nails because they were like a pink quartz and I felt like they didn't go. And these seemed like they were absolutely on theme. So yeah, I did a whole ass manicure just for this video. Everything will be timestamped down below. Everything will be linked down below. I think that's all we need to talk about before we get started. So let's just roll on into the first of these 3 green themed looks. So before we get into it and start creating a look, I wanted to show you the inside of the palette before I get it all dirtied up by dipping my brushes into it. I already swatched at my Instagram story yesterday, so there is a fingerprint in each pan, and I did dig my nail into the end one, which was a goddamn shame, but it happens. There are 3 warm tone shimmers, a warm tone matte, a cool tone matte, and then 3 cool tone shimmers. So one thing that I predict that I'm not gonna love about this palette, just straight off the bat, is that there aren't any transition shades in here or a variety of mattes to play with. There are just the 2, and they're both around the same level of depth. So for me, I'm gonna pull in a couple of shades from outside of the palette just to fill those gaps a little bit so that we can get a nice 3 looks experience from this palette. But just know that my first assessment is that it doesn't seem to be the most well-rounded palette, and you may find yourself needing to pull other products to create looks with it. That's just my initial thought. So to start that process, I'm actually just gonna pick up my Benefit Hoola bronzer. When I need a go-to transition shade and I don't have one in the palette, this is absolutely the one that I reach for. I'm picking that up on a BH number 5 brush. I'm gonna put that through my crease. This is like my favorite crease shade that's not like an actual eyeshadow from a palette or anything. I use this whenever I don't know what to use, or if I'm having a really light makeup day, I pop this through my crease and I use it to contour, and I love this. I love this. I think it's so underrated. I'm picking up a clean Morphe M441, and I'm just going to blend the edge of that out and up. On a BH number 7, I'm gonna go into the shade Sour Diesel, which is the warmer matte shade in this palette. I'm gonna tap that off because it looks real pigmented on there, and I'm going to put that on the outside corner of my eye and also bring that through my crease, blending it into the bronzer that we just put down. As I blended it out, I wound up kind of winging the corner of it a little bit. You don't really have to do that, but I just thought the shape would be nice. For the remaining portion of the lid, I'm gonna go into the shade Black Widow. I'm picking that up on a MAC 217S brush, and I'm going to try it first without any Fix Plus because I don't usually use these types of shadows, so I wanna see first how they perform. But I can tell by the texture of it that it's going to do much better if I wet it, so I'm gonna wet my brush with a little bit of Fix Plus. Toward the end, I'm just kind of tap-rooing my brush over where we put down Sour Diesel without adding any more product to it. So that way it sort of just blends the shimmer over top of the darker shade. On a MAC 217 pencil brush, I'm gonna go into the shade Gravity OG on the end here. And I'm gonna pack that onto the inner corner and bring it up pretty high and blend it out over the other shades. I want to add a white winged liner because, like I mentioned, I am for some reason inspired to combine white with these greens. And I think it's because of the packaging of this. Even though this is silver, it kind of has that same kind of a contrast between the leaves and the green background. And for some reason, I just think that's gonna be cool. So for the first white liner, I am going to grab my KVD White Out pomade, and I'm taking a little bit of it on this too chunky angle brush that I never use, and I'm putting it on the back of my hand, and I was gonna smush it into my skin for a second. When you work this product into the back of your hand, the warmth of your body kind of makes it more slippery and much easier to use as a liner, so that is what I am doing. I'm picking up a small angled brush. This is a Sephora collection one that I usually use for my brows, and I'm just gonna stamp a shape with that, and then I'm gonna fill it in with smaller brushes. I'll probably wind up picking up my little nail art brush that I usually use for wings. Oh, and I'm also gonna do like a little extended inner corner with this because I want to. I concealed underneath my eyes, I put down some powder, and now for the lower lash line, I'm gonna go back into the color Sour Diesel, which is really like an olive khaki green now that I'm looking at it more objectively. And I'm gonna start sweeping that underneath my lower lash line and sweeping that underneath where we brought that wing and blending that out with a clean brush. On the inner corner, I'm gonna do the same thing we did on the top lid and go into Gravity OG. And I'm just gonna pop that underneath where we extended the inner corner with the white liner and then drag it back over to where we put down Sour Diesel. For the waterline, I'm gonna go back into White Out. I'm taking that on a small angle brush and I'm gonna put that through the waterline and then extend the inner corner toward the tear duct area, like overline it to meet with where we extended that outer inner corner. I feel like that explains it in a very shitty way, but you guys will see what I mean when I do it. So maybe then you'll understand what I mean because I don't explain things good. I poked myself in the eye with the brush, which is making this a lot harder, but I'm gonna perfect this a little bit more, but I think you can see now what I mean. I just brought the white liner directly from the waterline out onto the tear duct to meet that inner corner. I added mascara, but before I go ahead and stick on my lashes, I wanna take a little bit of the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Liner in the color Midnight Cowboy, which is my fave. I'm just gonna add a little bit above the white across my whole lid. Okay, I finished the eyes with the House of Lashes Stella Luxe. I finished my skin with the Houston from the Girl Powder palette from the Balm. I filled in my moles with the Urban Decay Brow Blade in Brunette Fenty, and I highlighted with the Highlight Shade Divine and the Moonbeam Brightener from the Cover FX Perfector Face Palette. I think that this look will look really nice with a very simple nude lip if that's how you want to wear it, but for today I want to pair this with a red. So I'm going to use the Fenty Stunna lip paint in the color Uncensored, and in the center of it, because I want it to kind of have like a little bit more of a berry tone taken on, I'm going to put a little bit of the color Unlocked just in the center. And this is the first look. All right, I'm also gonna start this look by dipping into my Hoola bronzer as a transition shade on a beige number 5 brush and put that through the crease. I'm gonna take a little bit of the translucent powder that I use for my face. Right now I am using the Nabla close-up powder, and I'm just gonna take that on a Real Techniques brush and put that over my the majority of the mobile area of my lid. What I'm basically doing with that is just setting the primer that I put down so that it doesn't crease or like move funny underneath any other shadows that we put down, because I'm gonna leave the majority of the center without any like actual color on it. On a MAC 268S brush, I'm going to go into the shade Space Queen, which is this deep foresty green matte. And I'm gonna start creating a wing shape with that shadow using that brush. I'm gonna go into the shade Mean Green, and I'm going to wet that a little bit. I just dug my nail into the beautiful little pressing on that shade, and now I'm so sad. Look, I just squished the hell out of it with my nail. God damn it. Anyway, I'm wetting that with a little bit of Fix Plus, and I'm gonna put that in the center of the wing that we just created. On a pencil brush, I'm gonna go into the shade Blue Dream, which is the brightest shade on the end here, and I am going to use that to highlight my inner corner like in a big way. You guys have seen me do this shape before. It's one of my favorite shapes to do. I do it a lot with like bright blues and stuff. I'm just wetting that a little bit, and I'm gonna pack the hell out of it on the inner corner and like bring it up and over. I'm also gonna take a little bit of Sweet Tooth, which is this shade right here, on a Real Techniques detail brush, and I'm gonna wet that as well, and I'm gonna put it in the center of where I put down Mean Green there, just to make it pop a little bit more. For the lower lash line, I want to use the same dark green, that color Space Queen. I'm gonna use it on a little flat brush. This is a brush from Alamar Cosmetics, and I am going to just push that into my lower lash line and use it to meet the outside portion of that wing. Next, I'm gonna go into Mean Green again on that same brush, and I am going to do that for the inner portion of the lower lash line, just kind of fading it in so it's not quite as dark toward the center. And on the same pencil brush I used earlier, I'm going back into Blue Dream, fluffing it out toward the rest of the shadows just like we did on the top lid. For the waterline, I want to make it dark and colorful, so I'm going to use the Urban Decay Night King pencil. This is really kind of bluish, but it has a bit of a green shift, and I think it will blend nicely with these shades once it's on. Perfect, that's exactly what I wanted. Okay, I added the same lashes, the same blush, and the same highlight as the first look because part of it was still on my face, and also I liked them, so I used them again. I love the combination of textures and the bright green in this look, and I really don't want to take any focus away from this pretty color on the eyes. So for this look, I am going to do a matte nude lip. I'm going to line my lips with the Nabla lip pencil in the shade Touch Me, and I'm going to fill it in with the Fenty Stunna lip paint in Unbutton. And this is the second look. For the third look, I want to do a two-toned eye because I first saw this palette on Robbie D. Christie, and she did a really cool two-tone look with it, and ever since I saw the two-toned eye that she did with this, I've been wanting to do one with this palette. But I want to change it up a little bit. First of all, she did like a little weed leaf in the middle, and I don't really feel like doing that today. And also, I want to do something a little different, inspired by somebody else I follow on Instagram. Her name is Lauren Rohr. I'll put like an example of the looks that she does on here. She does like a two-toned eye, but it's like just flipped. So on this side, it'll be like cool on the top, warm on the bottom, and then the other side opposite of that. And that's what I want to do today because that's fun as shit. And to be quite frank, I've been waiting to do this look since I've been sitting down to film these, but I wanted to do it on a day where I didn't have to wash it off and go to the gym immediately. So that day is today, and today we are doing that, and I am excited. And just like the first two looks, I'm gonna start by going through my crease with my bronzer on a BH number 5 brush. I'm also really excited because this morning I went to IKEA and I got a new desk to film at and some new storage shelves for in here. So you guys won't see anything different because you don't see that part of my setup. But if you ever notice that I drop everything all the damn time, the reason for that is because the desk that I film at is like not even a desk. It's like literally a console table. And I bought it initially because my space was very different than I didn't have the space that I do now. And I needed something really small and I just never replaced it when I switched it up and like put my setup over here like this. So yeah, it's just like literally, you know, it's like one of those little skinny tables that goes behind a couch. That's what I film at. So that's why I knock everything down all the damn time, but not anymore. I got a big desk with drawers and storage. So I'm gonna consolidate like my actual day-to-day makeup desk into this desk now, and everything's gonna be in one thing, and I'm gonna have so much more room, and it's gonna be organized. Oh, it's going to be an absolute delight. I am so pumped. Okay, this eye is gonna be warm on top, and this eye is gonna be cool on top. So straight away, I'm going into Sour Diesel on a BH number 7, and I'm gonna put that on the outer portions of the eye and on the inner portion, so just leaving the middle open, kind of creating a little bit of like a spotlight type of a thing. And I'm bringing that up right into the crease and a little bit above, so it's a little bit more in your face. And I'm blending that out with a clean Morphe M433 brush. That is going to require a little bit more blending, but before I get to that, I'm going to take the shade Black Widow. I'm going to pick it up on a flat brush. I'm going to wet it with a little bit of Fix Plus, and I'm going to tap that right over the end of where we put that shade down. I'm basically just layering it over that dark matte shade because I don't want to take up too much room. I'm also getting very chunky fallout, but it's probably because I built so much of it up on the brush. I'm actually going to switch to a pencil brush for this because that one was not doing the job the way I wanted it to at all. There we go, much better. Now we're cooking. I'm gonna clean off my brush and repeat that same step going into the next lightest shade, Granddaddy, wetting it. This time I'm gonna place it over the whole center. And in the very center of that, I'm gonna go into Gravity OG on a flat brush, and I'm gonna pack some of that color, wetting that as well, right into the middle to make it really, really bright and like pew. I swear to God, I describe more makeup things with the sound pew than like anything else. I don't know how you guys have any idea what I'm talking about ever. And I'm just gonna go over the edges of all of that with a clean blending brush. And for the other side, I'm gonna go through the exact same process, except this time I'm gonna use the shades from the cool tone side. I'm gonna start with Space Queen and move my way down the palette again. Next, I'm going into Mean Green. Then in the center, Sweet Tooth. Sweet Tooth is such a stunning shade. Jesus, damn, that's nice. And in the center, Blue Dream. Concealed and powdered, so now it's time to do the lower lash line. So for this side, it's gonna be cool underneath, so I am going to go through the lash line with the Urban Decay pencil in the color Junkie, and on this side, it's going to be warm underneath, so I'm going to go through it with the Urban Decay pencil in the color Mildew. So now I'm gonna go through the same process I did on the top, just going from the darkest on the outer portions to the brightest on the middle, and I'm gonna switch the sides of the colors. So first, on the right eye, Space Queen. Then Mean Green. Fill it in with Sweet Tooth. And on a smaller brush, make the center pop with Blue Dream. Now I'm just gonna gently blend the edge of all of that with a clean blending brush. Now same thing on the other side, starting with Sour Diesel, Black Widow. Gonna fill in the middle with Granddaddy. And then in the center, on a tiny brush, Gravity OG. And again, I'm gonna blend everything out with a clean blending brush. Okay, I'm gonna add some mascara and lashes and fix up my skin, and then we'll move on and add a lip to this final look. Why did it take me so long to get the word look out of my mouth? I don't know, but that's what we're doing. Okay, hold on. Did a little different this time. I used the same blush, but I switched to the MAC Hyper Real Glow palette for my highlight. I did fill in my moles again with my Urban Decay Brow Blade, and I used the House of Lashes Spellbound lash because I felt like I wanted something like wispy and more round with this look. So that's what I did. For this, with the lip, I'm gonna keep it very simple. I wanna do a matte nude, and this is one of my favorite go-to matte nude combinations. I love showing you guys like my go-to daily matte nude combinations in conjunction with eye looks, because I mean, I feel like that's good information, you know? If it's something that I wear all the time, then it's like for a reason. So I'm gonna line my lips with the Kat Von D pencil in D minor and fill them in with the Studded Kiss lipstick in Ophelia. And this is the third and final look. Okay, so after doing 3 looks with this, I'm gonna go ahead and give this palette a big ass thumbs up because everything in it performs absolutely beautifully. I don't really think there's anything I don't like about this palette in particular. However, I do wish that there were a few more matte shades. If they had made this a 12 pan palette instead of an 8 pan palette, why do I have this lump of fuzzies in my hair? That's annoying. If they had made this a 12 pan palette instead of an 8 pan palette and put a few more mattes on both the cool side and the warm side, I think this would have been absolute perfection. But I think it says a lot about how good a palette is when your only complaint is that you wish there was more of it. There was some fallout with it, nothing too bad though. These shadows are very soft, especially the shimmers, but that probably helps them get such a nice rich payoff, so no complaints there. I did find that it got a little bit messy within the palette because as I was using it, like I was getting a little kickback in the pan, and it is like a little bit chunky, but nothing too bad, just something that I would need to like wipe out to make sure I keep this clean as I use it. Also, I've stuck my finger into several of them and made a huge dent with my nail multiple times because they are very soft. So they are a little bit more on the delicate side. I feel like the packaging is nice and sturdy, so maybe not, but I would be very cautious with it because the shadows are so soft. Overall though, I think this palette is beautiful, and the shimmer, like metallic shades, are some of the most like buttery bright metallics I've used in a long time. I don't think there's a ton more to say about it because it just really overall is a solid palette. If you like green, I think you're gonna be into it. Please don't forget to leave a like on this video if you don't mind taking a second, because it helps me out so much and I would appreciate it until the end of time. And if you are new here, please go ahead and subscribe because I would love to have you around for future videos. Thank you so much. Go ahead and find me on Instagram because that is where you can keep up with me between videos. I think that's it. I'm gonna go because my battery is about to die and quite frankly, I need a snack. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you, and I will see you in the next one.